In deciding where to put your deer stand, I told Bob I thought your percentages of getting a deer could go up drastically if you found good deer sign. And it appears Bob took that to heart. Well guys, I think we're at a time where we're going to kind of transition away from the fishing and move over towards the hunting. And in Bob and I's case, that means deer hunting. Now I'm not saying we won't be back out trying fishing a little bit more. We'd still like to go out and get a few trout. But right now, it's late October. For us, the rut is just kind of starting. They're chasing a little bit. We've been out a couple evenings so far. Matter of fact, at the end of this video, I'll put some of the video up I've shot the last couple evenings we've been out. Didn't shoot anything, but we saw some deer, so I'll include that here when we're all said and done. Basically, I want to give you a little background because we have not done YouTube videos during hunting season before. Kind of give you a rough idea of what you might be in for. The area we hunt here in eastern Nebraska, we have a wooded area that's inside the bend of a river. And inside this area, there's probably almost 300 acres. Now, we have 5 people that hunt here. Bob and I hunt, my son-in-law and his friend, and we have a 5th guy that also hunts in this area. Herd management is one thing. We need to take out some does every year, so we're always working towards that. We're looking towards bigger bucks, trying to let the small ones grow up and get a little bigger. So as far as hunting goes, we hunt archery, rifle, and black powder. So you're here in October and we're starting now. We could still be hunting in January if the snow doesn't get too deep where we can't get down here. I thought I'd take a little bit to show you how we hunt, just so you know. Kind of hard to start talking about that stuff while you're in the middle of hunting. So I thought this might be a way to start out. So let's start out looking at some of the stands that we use and we'll go from there. Well, the first thing we'll start out with is every year when we start, we'll be using tree stands. I do want to make one mention. I'm going to show you here. You can look back down behind me and you're going to say, well, that doesn't really look like so much of a deer trail as it actually looks like a road. And you're right, it is. Basically, it's pretty thick in here. There's some areas out there, 30 yards is about all you can see, because after they logged off some timber a few years ago, it just grew up really thick into the bushes. So basically, I come down the spring with the tractor and I built roads. And once I started building a few roads, I found out, hey, the deer, like anybody else, they went the easy way. They started using the roads as their trails. So we put the roads where we wanted the deer movement to be. And now basically, a lot of the times our stands are set up on or near roads that we know the deer are going to use. We'll start the year out. About every year we start the same, and that's with tree stands. So here's one up behind me here. This is one I use. I'm about 15 yards away from the road I was just standing on. This stand basically is best if I got a north wind, because it's on the south side. And if I come back to the road, and if I end up going up the road a ways, about another 30 or 40 yards, that way, there is another tree stand. It's on the other side of the road. So basically we're picking up whichever way the wind is, that's the stand that I'm using. Bob has the exact same setup about 200 to 250 yards to the north of me. He again has a trail that's just about like this. It's not as big as this, but it runs east to west. He has 2 stands, one on the north side, one on the south side. Depending on the wind, we take them. So that's the way we start out. Let's move on to some other stands. Okay, along with the tree stands, we also do have one tripod. This one's set a little more out in the open. It's designed basically for rifle season or black powder. It's really not big enough to handle getting a bow up there and trying to draw back a bow. It's a little bit tight for that, but it works really well out here in a little more open area during rifle or black powder season where the shooting is going to be a little bit farther. So one more opportunity we have there. Well, as you've seen, we've got the tree stands, we have the tripod, but we have one other stand that we use. Now, this summer, Bob and I thought, why don't we do something a little more permanent? So what we ended up doing, we built enclosed stands. Now basically what we did, we built the platform that it sits on up in my barn. We built all the walls put the siding on, painted them, cut in for the windows and everything up there. Then we put everything on a set of forks behind my tractor, hauled them down, brought the tractor in, and we assembled the whole thing here. So I guess you'd call it prefab deer stand. Anyway, let's show you what we got. Bob's is constructed same way. We did them all the same. Windows might change a little, but that's about it. But basically, it's just a 5 foot by 5 foot area. You got a chair. Windows are all sliders, and spot for cameras and stuff to work with. Pretty much a one-man unit, though you could put a second person in here, you know, as long as they were just watching. But as far as a shooter, you're only going to get one. So, nice little heater. Come late December, January, when there's snow on the ground and it's getting pretty cold, it should stay nice and warm and something like that. Well, that should about do it. You've seen the type of stands we'll be using. Gave you a little background of the area that we're going to be hunting. I probably didn't cover everything, but I don't want to make this thing too long just to talk about what we're going to do. How often we're going to be doing videos, I don't know. I guess that's going to depend on their success. I figure you probably don't want to sit and watch a bunch of videos of just deer walking by and us not shooting at anything. So that might have something to do with the quantity of videos we put out. Anyway, as I said, I'm going to throw in a little video that I shot the last few nights just to show you a little something. Hope to see you again real soon. I got 2 deer coming down the trail in front of me from left to right, the way I was planning on. Right now they're about 60, 70 yards off to my left. But they're coming down the road. We'll see if they keep coming. Got a new tree tonight because the wind's out of the south. I've been sitting in the same stand with the north wind for 2 or 3 times. I've moved to the other side of the trail. I'm still on the same road or the same trail I was, just now sitting on the north side to cover for the south wind. Well, we had a little excitement tonight anyway. A few does, some fawns, decent little buck. He wasn't real big, but at least he's better than seeing some little forkhorn. Maybe in a couple of years he'll be a pretty nice one. Anyway, makes for a nice evening when you at least see some deer. Breaks up the monotony of sitting here seeing nothing.